guess I should go live then. So, who watched all the Train Sim Classic streams on the Train Simulator Classic channel this morning? I got up at about 6 a.m. thinking that's when mine was on, only to go, oh no, it's Joe. That means mine was on an hour and a half ago. Uh-oh, got the time zone wrong. Either they moved it. I don't think they moved it. I'm not sure. Anyway, I wasn't in the chat for mine, just like I wasn't in the chat for mine yesterday. Yesterday I had a good reason. Well, actually, today's a good reason too. If it's on at 4 a.m, that's a pretty good reason to not be in the chat. But yesterday I was actually doing a shift on a real railway, which is why I wasn't in the chat for mine, because we're not allowed to have our phones. They have to be in the box. Well, let's get the leak over and done with. I'm not going to talk about it, because I'm not going to, for the sake of a few views, ruin everyone's fun. Just watch tomorrow. Watch the Dovetail live stream tomorrow afternoon. Afternoon for most people. Morning for me. Pretty early morning, actually. But, yeah, you'll find out then. And, yeah, there's a couple of YouTubers who are blatting on about it, but whatever. Ignore them. Wait for the surprise. I reckon that's better. There's nothing that would really stop me talking about it, Michael, because it's out in the public now, and I'm allowed to talk about anything that's out in the public, but I just don't want to, because I think it's a it's a bit of an asshole thing to do, to be honest, to ruin the surprise for everybody. Hello, Faramero. How are you doing, mate? Hope you're well. All right. Anyway, with the imminent release of Acela, we're going to look at Acela across 3 TSC routes just to see what it's like. So, and I have to admit, my cold's flared up again since yesterday because I got soaked and cold. But that's life. And I've got a great headache, but I've taken drugs, so it'll be fine. So we're going to have a look at a few scenarios. I hope to run 3. We'll see how we go for time, because they can be a little bit long. I'm going to run it on the NEC, the Northeast Corridor route, which is New York to Philadelphia. I quite like that route. You probably saw it on my... Well, if you watched the Train Sim thing, you would have seen me driving GG1s on it this morning. So we're going to run Afternoon Acela Express. Now, that's normally called Acela Express, but I've redone it. And let's get it started, actually, so we can talk. I've retimed it using TS tools so that it runs in the afternoon, so it's not dark. And then I'll run one on the New York, he says, New York, New Haven, Express to Stamford. Today you're in charge of the 1837. Not quite, it's actually the 1537 Acela, but anyway, that's all good. Here's our beast. Actually looks quite nice for TSC, I have to say. Now these are in the process of being replaced. But in TSC, they'll be forever new. Alright, let's jump in and get set up. Let's put the HUD on. Let's collect passengers, which is a good thing to do. What else do I have to do in this one? I don't have to key in. I should be able to just put it in forward. And headlights. What did that get me? Red ones. That's not what I want. White ones. That's what I want. And the ground lights, which is the ditch lights, we want them on flash, I think. What are they doing now? No, they're just on. Okay. They should be on flash now. That's better. You are now picked up passengers at Philadelphia 30th Street. It's a slow-moving Acela currently south of Trenton. Alright, so shall we depart? I think so. Get the brakes released. Don't have to cut them in on this one. And cruise control. Trying to remember the right keys. Oh, hang on. We've got to turn cruise control on. Cruise control. There we go. Now I should be able to do it. .30, and let's let it rip. Away we go. Some bell, maybe. And Faramara was hoping to add the Acela in Train Sim World. Well, I can tell you the Acela's definitely coming. But the other stuff will just stay mum about. Because live for the surprise tomorrow. Rail driver doesn't want to control the wipers, that's fine. Will the cruise control actually work? Yes. Brilliant. Now this thing by default does actually have vigilance and the ATC and ACES stuff turned on, so I'm not turning it off. Just means I can't stay out of the cab very much. Bit of a punsy horn, isn't it? Hello, Metro 212. We've been conversing about world peace this morning. I was slightly surprised, Metro 212, that you didn't ask me when I said there's only one way to achieve world peace. It's actually very simple. We all have to leave. It's basically it. Go find Planet B. We'll mess that one up instead. We're still running at 30 mile an hour limit at the moment. It's the joy of high-speed trains. I have a lot of quiz questions today. Some of them might be about the speeds of the Acela. They're all about the Acela. Maybe I'll put a light on. I'll put a light on? No, I won't put a light on. Hopefully I can just see my quiz questions. Do you want a quick preview? You can cheat. There they are. I've got a lot. Because I figured we might be here for a while today. Hello, Omar. Welcome. We are driving the Acela. Still limited to 30 miles an hour, unfortunately. I thought the keys for the cruise control on Train Sim Classic were Y and C, but they don't seem to actually do that. Is another Acela coming? Sit in the middle. See if we don't get squashed. This is not a safe place to be, just saying. How's the game sound versus me today? You speed up yet? No. You know, why don't we start the quiz? We've got enough people to start the quiz. Let me get my that's what I want. I want a large post-it note to keep track of people's results. So then, first question for the trivia about the Acela. Boston and Washington are the endpoints of the NEC. What fruit is at the centre? And we're still limited to 30 mile an hour here. Another little Amtrak unit flying past over there. An AEM7, I think, with some Amfleet cars. Has it got a cab car on the back? No. So it's one of the runaround jobs. Ah, gratuitous bridge shot. Ooh, maybe we'll go around this side of the gratuitous bridge shot. That looks nicer, doesn't it? That's screenshot worthy. Right about there. Haven't seen an alert go off yet, which is good. Oh, apparently I can speed up. 45, 45. Very good. Not quite that much, though. Why did Nightbot do that? Sorry, Omar. Bloody Nightbot. Let me get into the Nightbot configuration. I apologise, Omar. That was not nice. Why is it doing that? Why? I hope nothing bad happens while I'm doing this. Let me take a simple way out of this for a start. Can I undelete this message? But no, I can't undelete the message. Bloody Nightbot. Where is its config for this stuff? Spam protection. Let's just turn that off. There we go. Nightbot's been kicked in the nuts. My apologies, Omar. That is a terrible thing for it to happen to you. Hopefully... Nightbot's been put in the naughty corner. But anyway, we can speed up. Let's do that. Allowed to do 80. It's always the lesser of the two speeds. Let's just try and get that to just under 80. This looks so much nicer in the afternoon than the original. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, Omar. Every now and again it just gets its knickers in a twist. So I've actually turned off its protective features. Oh dear, I am now going too fast because I'm not paying attention. Need to slow back down to 60. Now 40. We're going through points. Well, we're actually going to stay the right way up. Luckily we did. At least they're all standing behind the yellow line today. That's good. The bell's not automatic in this one. It's interesting. Another AM7 going past over there. Go on, train. Slow yourself down. Yes, you were not being repetitive at all, Omar. Nightbot's useful for some things, but perhaps not that. Restricted to 60, so we can speed up again. Now here's something interesting. Who can tell me what's wrong with the American flag? I'll even give quiz points for it. Hello, Joe. British Ace, how are you? Have we had any answers to the first quiz question? It doesn't look like it. Thank you, Metro, for linking to your friends. Yes, I've had to put Nightbot in the naughty corner. It misbehaved itself. No, that's not what's wrong with it, Metro. Correct, Ferravero. You are correct. And I will give quiz points for that. Now, we've still got an outstanding quiz question I haven't got an answer for yet. Boston and Washington are the endpoints of the Northeast Corridor. What fruit is at the centre? And I should pay more attention and speed up, because we can finally actually go fast. Yay! Another Acela. A truly high-speed train. Not. What's really sad is even the one it's being replaced with still isn't. Michael got it. Did he? Oh, okay. I missed it. Oh. I've got top chat turned on instead of live chat. Oh. Okay. Am I speeding again? I am speeding again. Corner. 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 Brakes. Brakes, brakes, brakes. Brakes and reduce cruise control. Every time I go and look at the chat, we end up in a corner. But it's okay. We're going to make it. We are going to make it. Listen to that squeal. All the passengers, the coffee and laptops and shit just went everywhere. That's okay. Oh, I hope that's not on our track. It's going to be embarrassing if that's on our track. No, it's not. Woohoo. Can we outpace a Metroliner after a penalty brake stop? That's the question. Because I think that's what's happening to me right now, is I'm having a penalty brake stop. Hopefully it'll let me drive again. What do you think? Will it? Will it power up? No, it's still got the brakes on. Come on, you. Release. Brake pressure sounds like it's pumping up. Looks promising. But my power needles are still in the yellow, which means they're braking, but we're going fast. Speeding up. I will pretend to understand this at some point. Why are my power needles still in the braking zone? Oh well. Oh well. It's okay. Let's bring this up to 100 too. And see if we can catch up with that little Metroliner. So I gave points to Michael and British Ace, because British Ace came in after I asked it the first time, and I didn't realise Michael had given me an answer because I was silly and had top chat turned on instead of live chat. That's okay, not. A few other people joined today. We've got Lexic Dark, so very good. Cruising along in our Acela. It's quite a nice model. I do actually like this route in Train Sim Classic. And no, no one makes me say that. I just do. I guess it's because I've actually visited both cities. I wonder if we have to slow down for that curve coming up. I guess not, because there's nothing on the HUD. We are catching up with the Metroliner finally. All the people in the Metroliner were sitting there going, nah, Acela people. Stopped in their tracks. So if we go on to the second question, it has 4 answers. 10 points for each answer that people get right. Who owns the Northeast Corridor? Not who operates it, who owns it. We scare the AEM7 driver now? Why not? Amtrak is one owner, Metra, so you get 10 points there. There are more. Actually, CSX isn't an owner, not directly. They're involved, but they don't own it. There's 3 more to find. CSX is involved with one of the owners, but they're not the owner. Catching up with another AEM7. This is how it should be. Heading for Metro Park. Just gently bring my speed down. MTA. Close. 2 of them do start with M. Look at all these stopped AEM7s anywhere. Anybody think this was Train Sim well with red signals? Oh, who said that? No one said that. No, didn't say that. Wasn't here. I wouldn't say that. There's 3 more I'm looking for. One of them I streamed recently. It's something a bit different. Metro North. There's a bit of a tie there over who got it. I think Michael got it first. And there's two more to find. One of them starts with M, and one of them starts with the same letters as CSX. And they kind of maybe own some of CSX. MBTA is indeed one of them. Mark is run by one of the owners. MBTA. No, sorry, MBTA is not one of them, actually. My apologies. No. No, not Conrail. Do you want to spell out what CSAO is? Because they probably... The owner I'm thinking of probably belongs to them. Just want to make sure. Coming up, another AEM stuck in a station. Conrail still exists, actually, Metro. It's not true that it was discontinued. The company still runs today. It still is in the freight business. It's even still called Conrail. Are its wheels going around? I kind of don't think so. Oh yeah, they are. We've gone past the 90 section now, so we can speed up a bit more. If I can get my mouse onto this. Up to the blistering speed of 110 miles an hour. Metro disputes that Conrail still exists. You should look it up in your company's register, young fella. Because it does very much still exist and still operates freight services. They still actually have a major owning share in a couple of freight railroads too. For that matter, so does the PRR. It still exists as well. But I think that one's in a shell these days. I don't think it's particularly active. An AM being passed by an Acela being passed by us. Very rich in traffic. I am still speeding, you're right, game. I missed a bridge shot. Oh no. That's okay. There's a lot of red cars down there. These are the iconic power pylons on the NEC. Although it's hard to tell if they've got any wires on them. I don't think they do. Probably trying to save frame rate or something. The other two operators were the Massachusetts Department of Transportation and the Connecticut Department of Transportation. And the Connecticut Department of Transportation is the one that has some ownership in CSX through CSAO. Can we sneak down the middle of these cars? Can I pull this off? Oh, yes, I'm going to go through them though. Uh-oh. Ow, ow, ow. As we cruise along. Usually we're allowed back up to 110 in a corner, but that's okay. Off we go. Oops, that's too high. Too much movement. I did end up getting a wheel, Joe. And I got Lincolnshire working in OMSI too, so yeah, it's kind of fun. I ended up with the Thrustmaster T128. It's a busy little scenario. I'm always vaguely impressed when they're this busy in Train Sim Classic, because it must be right on the edge of going out of memory. 109. Another 42 miles to Metro Park. As we slide through the countryside of Pennsylvania. It was an interesting installation experience because I put on the newest drivers that were released in January and get BSOD. So I searched the best source of support today for anything, which is pretty much Reddit, and discovered that this year's drivers are total balls and that you should run last year's drivers. So I uninstalled this year's drivers, found all the files, found all the registry entries, killed it all, put on last year's drivers, and it's sweet as. Will OMSI 2 be shown at some point? Will a bus simulator and a truck simulator, perhaps, because I happen to have one, get shown on a train channel? It's an interesting question. It's a good question for the viewers, I suppose. Would you want to see the occasional bus and truck content? To break up the train content? I'd love to say trains are always exciting, but the reality is they're not. Even I get sick of trains sometimes. I do play other games. Stray being one of my personal favourites currently. Something about playing with pussy. Joe certainly wants to see some bus and truck content. If you don't know Joe, the British Ace, do recommend his channel because he's got hugely varied content. Out of all of the streamers that take on the British train content, you're not likely to find someone who's got more knowledge. And he has a very good way of engaging the audience and keeping people interested. Metra's phone was really slow. That's good. Or not. Depending on whether your Metra's phone or not. We'll go on to our next question. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 answers. Each of the answers is worth 10 points. Because there's so many of them, like the last question, you don't have to get them all to get any points. If you get one, and you're the first one, you will get the points for it. Who operates passenger services on the NEC? And in fact, I just thought of another one that's not in my list, which may come as a surprise. It'll help with a later question too, if anybody gets the answer to it. We're coming up to another AM7. It's time for another whoosh moment. And we're speeding around an 80 corner doing 110 miles an hour. Oh well. I'd better actually at least make an attempt to slow it down, or I'm going to get another penalty break. Let's just get it into suppression. That should be enough. Should be able to release the brakes now and have it do its job. Because by the time it actually gets to 80, it'll be time to speed up again anyway. We do have British Ace with Amtrak, which is correct. We have British Ace with NJT, also correct. New Jersey Transit. We have British Ace with Metro North, also correct. British Ace with MBTA, also correct. Someone's found a Wikipedia page. And British Ace with Mark, also correct. Metra's gone Amtrak, Mark, MBTA for a little bit, NJT, MNRR, and LIRR. Yes, Metro North is there, so you definitely get that one. And LIRR is definitely on the NEC, but only briefly. Hello, GTA Sandman, how are you? So we've had Amtrak, MBTA, Metro North, Long Island, New Jersey Transit, Mark. There's 3 to go. Hello, Trainmaster. GTA said SEPTA. Yes, he did. Oh, well done. It's only just come in while I was reading that. Another one for you. So there's 2 to go. One, I reckon no one will get. And one you should be able to figure out with something like Wikipedia. Power back on again now. My gauges still don't work though. Oh, passenger operators, Metro 212. Look at that, my cruise control is set to 81 and the game's complaining about it. So I have to bring it back just a tiny little bit. Maybe not that much. About there. Yes, CT Rail. It's actually C-Trail, by the way. So it's not CT Rail, it's C-Trail. But I'll give you the answer. One more, and I reckon no one will get it. But they do operate quite regularly on the NEC. Only for a very short part of it. I'm showing my cursor today? No, I'm not. Good. I just realised our 2 highest point scorers aren't actually in the chat today. You guys might catch up with them. Still one more that no one's picked up. Acela might have its own operating company, but it runs under Amtrak. 30 miles to Metro Park. As we slide past another AEM 7 service. And it's time to engage the rockets. Start feeding kittens into the fire, and we'll speed up. I do like this station. When we're outside the train. It's just kind of cool. It's such a simple construction, but it's nice. Such as you go with the train, shouldn't it? I believe it only operates most of the time on Sundays. Got something coming up on this side. We're passing another Acela. Actually, yes, Michael. I was about to say no, but actually, yes. Because that is the Strasbourg Railway today. So, yes, Michael gets it. Well done. Nice work. Quite a bit of points going away today. It's good to see. I like the shadows on the side of the train. Comes another AM7. As someone said, the toaster. Who knows why it's called the toaster? I can get it because I'm old enough. But who else knows why it's called the toaster? Parabaro indeed, it does look like one. It looks like one of these. A speedy toaster where you open the doors on the side to put your toast in. These haven't been around for rather a long time. These little doors on the sides open up. There you go. It isn't sad, the only place I could find one was on eBay. But that's why it's called the toaster. And Ferramera, it wasn't a quiz question, but you can have points anyway. Passing glance through the trees. It's the rail fans zooming along in their drone. Sick Dark says his parents had one like that. I'm not that surprised, they were quite popular in Australia. And they went away because they were responsible for rather a lot of electrocutions. Because the heating elements were live with 240 volts. So people would often leave it plugged in, and as soon as the toast was ready, they'd pop the door down and pull the toast off and zick. We used to have lots of unsafe products like that in Australia. What is this? What is this thing? Just sitting in the middle of nowhere. Silo. Pile of boxes in a window. And a half-open door. You know, if it was me, I'd be in there having a look. Just clocked under 20 miles to Metro Park. Lexic Dark goes, do you know how annoying your quiz question was to me? Because I started doing corporate ownership hierarchies. Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? When you start figuring out who owns what. Hello, Poorhouse. Yes, the Big Apple is New York, you're right. And DC is near Virginia. Well, it's kind of in Virginia, isn't it? And Jersey is not a part of New York. No, it's not. You're quite correct. It just wishes it was. Sorry, New Jersey, but it's true. Why don't we go for another one? This one might be a little bit hard for people to find. Maybe. So in 1916, so back a little while, PAR and NH, New Haven, built an iconic bridge in New York that provided the interconnection for the NEC from Boston to Washington. It has 3 names. What are the 3 names of the bridge? 10 points each, and if someone gets all 3 and they're first, I'll give them 50. Just because it might be a little bit hard to find. Electronic bells. Poorhouse says Virginia and DC are two different states. There you go. Is DC just something weird like a territory? Or is it actually a state? Just wondering, because it's called the District of Columbia. Flying past another AEM service. There's some more freight over there. Let's go have a look. The tiny little caboose tucked onto the back of what looks like some steel coil cars. Here's our AM7 coming along. Hello, Ollie's Train Gaming. How are you? Welcome. Better go back to our Acela before we lose it. It's the iconic overhead line equipment again. Brad MacArthur, New York Connecting Railroad Bridge, Hellgate Bridge and East River Arch. You are correct. Well done. 50 points for Brad MacArthur. Nice way to come out of the gate. Was that a little bit hard to find, Brad? And he probably did look it up too. Now, interestingly enough, while we're still on that bridge, there are two other bridges in the world which are total doppelgangers of that bridge. Who can name them? It's one of the doors open. Just parked here. You can sneak in. It's got people in it. Hi, that's funny. You guys do realise you just parked in a siding, right? And you haven't got an engine. A bit like those people that got stuck in Queens the other day. Am I supposed to stop here? No. Good. I'm probably supposed to slow down though, right? Probably meant to slow down. Cruise control gonna slow me down in time. I think that's actually a no, but that's alright. Just let it go. Sydney Harbour Bridge, and yes, the other one is in Newcastle, but what bridge is it? So you get 10 for the Sydney Harbour. And it definitely is in Newcastle in the UK. Newcastle. What do people think it is? Newcastle or Newcastle? Don't know. TSD asks, is this route coming next on TSW? Oh, wait till tomorrow afternoon, young fellow. The strict answer to your question is no. You'll understand tomorrow. Coming up in another AM service. How many trains have we seen so far? It must be in the vicinity of about 30. I'm glad I had TS tools to retime them all. Otherwise it would have been a nightmare. Brad MacArthur, Tyne Bridge, 10 points. Well done, sir. Oh, I'm being naughty again. I'm so naughty. So naughty. In the words of Monty Python and the Castle and Traps, it must be time for a spanking. Oh, 45. We do actually have to go into suppression and cut our power. we're going to get in trouble because we're going to run into the back of a train. Wouldn't want to do that. Should be enough. I'll release the brakes because it probably get down to about 45 by the time it releases. Oh, now we've got to get into 30. That's even worse. Lots of brakes. And that brake needle just did something that's physically impossible, but that's okay. We'll forgive it. It's alright. The brake needle went above the brake pipe pressure. That's not actually physically possible. Bring it down the rest of the way. There we go. 30 miles an hour. Must be someone in front of us. I'll just roll for the moment. So bring the cruise control down to that speed. I was kind of hoping to avoid that, but obviously not. Give it a little bit of power. People are doing pretty well on the quiz so far. Let's see what's in front of us. Red light coming up. I guess that's going to change tracks or something. Have to behave ourselves. I don't remember red light when I did the test run of this. Its cruise control is like the good old-fashioned Chevy cruise control. Accelerate, brake, accelerate, brake, accelerate, brake. Just couldn't make up its mind. Is that the red one? It's hard to tell. Very hard to tell. Whoops. No, that is not red. I can keep going. It's okay. It's partially red. We're allowed back up to 45. Not that far. That far. Power it up. This is the joys of the NEC. It's quick, but it has lots of slow bits. I actually have a question about the slow bits later on. Get up into the station. Oops. Sit with the people. Watch the Acela slide through. Very slowly. Still limited to 45 at the moment. Still in our bouncy cruise control. One of those interesting things where they run high transmission voltages over the top of railway voltages. And the reason it's interesting, ignoring that the transmission lines could fall on the railway lines, don't worry about that too much, but the voltage in the railway lines would actually go up at this point And the two would influence each other. It's just a bit of trivia for you. And we have a full green, so we're allowed back to 90 now. Up we go. And I notice the overhead on this part of the route is actually green, so it's copper. Almost at Metro Park, so it's actually really not worth speeding up all that much, to be honest. I'll just power up and coast into Metro Park, I think, since we're going downhill anyway. Farah 29A, what's the question concerning the bridges? Ah, it was a trivia question. And it was about the Hell's Gate Bridge, or Hellgate Bridge. Bill Cruiser, afternoon, was subject to lots of speed restrictions, New Rochelle, New York and New Haven CT due to the fact that Metro North owns the track between the two cities. Quite possibly. Yeah, they were one of the owners of the NEC. Still got a little while to go before we get to Metro Park. There's a Metro Park in New York as well. Not the gentlest braking in the work, but it'll do. Don't break off that much. Brakes on this are very touchy. I'm going to release them and apply them again. There we go. That'll do it. Get our doors open. Stopped a little far up there, but the passengers will be happy. There's a lot of people parked on the roof. And someone parked on the ramp between the levels. Always good. No one in the middle of it, though. Everybody's parked on the roof today. They want to wash their cars, clearly. You have picked up passengers at Metro Park and will now call at Newark and New York Penn. Very good. Why aren't the brakes completely releasing? Weird. It seems to be driving though. I think I've confused it. We'll just ignore the gauges from now on. I quite clearly have broken this train. The joys of old simulations. Ooh, track speed 60. For the corner. That's Axis slowing us down. ACSES. Big tree scrapes down the side of the surface there. And we are apparently going places. Those two cars just bred. One became the other one. Track change, back onto the fast track. Which means we can go back up to 110. Still not exactly what you'd call high speed, but not awful. Get some more beans. I thought I was, Brad, but I don't think I am because it hasn't attacked me for going too fast. I did get a penalty brake earlier, but I think I actually broke the train, because you'll notice that it thinks it's braking, but it's quite clearly accelerating. And it thinks the air brakes are applied too, but they're quite clearly not. So I think I broke the train when I got the penalty brake, so the safety systems have probably died. And as we say in the classics, the show must go on. So we just pretend there's nothing wrong with it. Keep going. Ironic that we have the set labelled 2025, 2025. Will Acela's replacement actually come into service? It was originally slated for 2021, but they had some issues, and then COVID. And then it was slated for this year, but they had some issues, not COVID. And now I believe it's slated for 2024. Will it make it for 2024, or will it be 2025? Interesting. Who would know? Looks like there's a little bit of a CSX coming up here. We travel through railway. In fact, it's a freight-hauled Amtrak set. That's interesting. I wonder if that happens in real life. Well, just missed a gratuitous bridge shot. I could try and turn the safety systems back on again, Brad, but that usually has disastrous consequences when you do it when you're driving. It is an amazingly detailed solo model. Nice industrial area. Some more freight over here. Well, break a leg's what you say at the start of the show. And the history behind break a leg was that if you said something like, you know, hope the show goes well, it invariably didn't. So they said break a leg instead so it would go well. Hello, David Park. Welcome aboard the Acela. We're travelling to New York. We started in Philadelphia today, as we cruise past another toaster. Next stop, Newark, Penn. In 2019, I think. It was 2018. 2019, I think. I did a couple of weeks trip to New York to just explore as a tourist. And I ended up staying in Newark because, for some bizarre reason, everything in Manhattan was ridiculously expensive at that time, much more than it usually is. And I couldn't get any accommodation that I really felt like shelling out cash for. I could find stuff that I could afford, but it was quite awful. So I stayed in Newark, where I paid very little and got a very nice hotel. These days you just use Airbnb, you wouldn't bother with hotels. But although that is also a little bit risky. My last American Airbnb in San Francisco came with an extremely friendly landlady who wanted to talk to us all the time. Oh, and I'm not paying attention. I'm naughty, clearly. Jammed the brakes back on. Because we should be doing only 55 around this corner as we pass the unbranded CSX set. Or is it it's all black actually, it must be a Norfolk Southern set. Must be time for a quiz question. Just to distract you from me being incredibly naughty. Before we have to speed up again anyway. Give them the bells. They are of course hell's bells. Brakes are still applying, which makes... I think I might have got another penalty then from my half-active safety system. So they were quite clearly applying for a while there. 5-5. High five on the green, which is surprising. It's a slow speed. Brad stayed in a fantastic Airbnb in Harlem. Yeah, my last stay I was in Brooklyn, about 2 blocks from a good friend of mine. She was the main reason Chris and I actually went there on the last trip. A little bit of business on that one too. Not too far from Newark, Penn now. Harlem has certainly changed since my grandfather lived there. He started out in Harlem. After a while he went to Queens. And then Astoria. And then back to Queens. Well, in theory you can go back up to 100, but it's not worth it because I can see on the HUD that there's a 70 coming, so just move up to that. Just be a little bit late. That's okay. Oh, bits of every city are a little bit dodgy. It's quite normal. The changes in some ways are sad because Harlem was one of the places where people who didn't have enough could find a place to live, but now they're being forced out, which is sad. It happens in every city. Heading past Newark Liberty Airport. When I stayed in Newark, I thought I could get a plane from JFK, where the Australian flight lands, and fly over to Newark Liberty, but I didn't because I thought, no, I'm a train person. And then I found out that there were problems at Jamaica that day, so I ended up getting a cab into Manhattan, and then I got the path out to Newark, just for the hell of it. During that trip I rode the path, New Jersey Transit and Amtrak, because I could. As you do. David Park asks, what DLC am I most looking forward to? US route, enhancement packs, Acela, Little of the Barn, basically anything on the roadmap. The Acela's kind of fun for a while, but I prefer a stopping service generally when I'm playing on my own. So the longer high-speed ones, I can take them or leave them, to be honest. Just powering off. We're now approaching Newark. And I can see the massive landmark bridge that's just after the station up there. Does anybody know does this bridge still lift up? I've never been able to find out whether it does or not. SFS and Roblox. Can I see the outside of the train? Certainly can. How's that? I've just got to start braking, or we're not going to be stopping for Newark. This is the TSC version, SFS and Roblox, but it'll give you an idea what to expect when the TSW Acela comes out. It's not exactly the newest model in TSC, but it's aged quite well. A bit like this route, it's not exactly the newest one in TSC, but it's aged quite well, because overall it's quite nicely done. There's a few bits and pieces here and there, but overall it's really good. Coming to Newark Penn Station. Now in this model, I don't think it's got the upper levels because the path is both on this level and there's a track on the upper level as well in the middle, and I don't think it's modelled in the TSC version. Be running the bell, shouldn't I? This is America. Am I looking forward to the summit stream tomorrow? Yes, I am. Even though I know what's coming, because I'm a beta guy, I am still looking forward to it because I want to see how people react. And I haven't baited all of it, actually. Things have changed a little bit in beta land. I can't really tell you what, but we don't get access to everything anymore, it seems. Let's get the bell off, get the doors open, and I will catch up with the chat in just a moment, because Bridge, River, there it is. That's the hotel I stayed in, that great big building. And I stayed on this side of it, and there's actually a park here. And there's an excellent pizza shop. This isn't quite modelled correctly because it's using default assets, but there's an excellent pizza shop here in this building that's floating. So if you're ever in Newark, off we go to New York City. Now, interestingly, I'm not quite sure about the distance here because it's 10 miles to New York Penn, and I kind of think on the track it's actually further than that. Actually, maybe the station does have the upper level model because it's got the path tracks that go up there. Oh yeah, it sort of does. You just can't see it from the other end. Now, this is quite an iconic structure, this bridge. I tried to find out when I was there whether it still goes up and down or not, but no one could tell me. No one had seen it move, so maybe it doesn't. Catching up with the chat. Poorhouse says, GMGUA has just subbed. Would I recommend that I start this game? Oops, let me just stop speeding, because I'm clearly being way naughty. Let me just get this back under control. The games are a bit different. So TSC is a lot older, and in TSC, the main difference between the two simulators is that in TSC, you are the train. So you're not the driver of the train, you're the train. In TSW, you're the driver, so you can get out and you can walk around and do stuff like that. So it's a different experience. Both games have their merits. A couple of years ago, we all thought TSC was probably going to go away, but that turned out to not be true, and TSC is now getting developed again. So there's core changes happening to it right now, which will renew it again. So they're both good. Right now, TSC is very cheap in the sale. I think for me it's about $14 or something crazy. And there's so much DLC for it. There's about 1,500 DLC in total. There's about 850 available on Steam, something like that. And I'm glad you like the channel. So I like both games. I'm quite happy in both for different reasons. The graphics are much better, much better in TSW. But TSC does have its moments. Like this route actually looks quite nice. It's not as detailed as you get in TSW. The water's always better in TSC. Catching up some more. We've got, am I looking forward to Summit Stream? Yes, talked about that. David says TSW is more user-friendly and easier to pick up and drive a train. Yeah, I'd say that's probably true because it's got a lot of tutorials and training in it, which TSC tends to not have. Brad agrees, pizza. And David says with TSC there's much more variety, more countries, more Steam, more third-party content. That is very true. It's easier to build scenarios. You can build much more detailed scenarios if you're interested in doing that sort of thing. And David Park says, without spoiling anything, there's some exciting content. Don't miss out. And I think David saw the leaked video, so he knows what's coming. I agree. I think there is some exciting content coming. So live the dream. I would suggest don't go and try and find out. Just wait for it to be announced tomorrow. I mean, you could find out easily enough. There's a couple of channels that have been blabbing on about it on YouTube, but I actually think that's a bit mean. It's a bit mean to Dovetail, and it's a bit mean to the audience of the game. It would be better to find out by surprise. You notice I didn't bother speeding up because I know there's a slow section coming anyway. Yes, and you do get an editor with TSC. There's kind of one for TSW. There's a community-based editor for TSW, but it's a bit limited in what you can actually do. Whereas TSC, you can make a complete route from scratch. If you want to build something like this, if you've got 1 million hours up your sleeve, you can definitely do it. It's time intensive. The editor's very hard to learn. In fact, in both of them. David also says, you're doing quite well at explaining this, David. That has an actual physics engine, whole 24-hour timetable, tutorials, scenarios, runs better graphics. I don't actually know about runs better. I think it's probably much of a muchness for the two of them. Let's go over this side. The light will be nicer. It's an interesting swampy area of New Jersey, this. One day someone will find a way to develop it. GMGUA says, graphics aren't really an issue because I've spent most of my train simming time on train sim on mobile, just got a computer. You must have gone through a lot of battery on your mobile running trains. It's certainly a hog. I've got it too. I don't mind it. Trains is like a model railway, really, in your interactions. David says lighting is more consistent in TSD compared to TSW. Yeah, they've been doing some experimenting with lighting lately, that's why. We're going to go blasting through Secaucus. Hello, Caleb. Welcome. Do I have a guard on board, or is that a dispatcher, says SFS and Roblox? Oh, the Acelas have several conductors. I don't have an actual guard, so you're asking who blew the whistle, I guess. This is such a bouncy cruise control, isn't it? Turn the horrible bell off now. Here's a view you don't get in Train Sim in TSW. Overhead. And here's another view you don't get in Train Simulator. Train Sim World. Side view. David says TSW gives him better performance and higher frames since he uses both CPU and GPU. TSC does actually use your GPU quite heavily these days. So probably about the 2020 release. It doesn't hurt that I also run the RW enhanced shaders and they use the GPU. So it's probably about half and half with me. But frame rate's pretty good. So Shift F3? Shift Z? There we go. So I'm getting 60 FPS through here, near enough. We're about to cruise into the tunnels. So we'll probably speed up a little bit. We should ask some more quiz questions, shouldn't we? Because we're going to be in the tunnels soon and they're going to be boring as. Caleb just picked up a few DLCs for TSW3. That's cool. If you're not aware, there is quite a large sale on at the moment, and I know I'm an ambassador, but no one pays me to say this. The deals are actually pretty good. I've bought a whole lot of stuff for TSC because I don't get all my DLC for free. The one we're driving right now is one that I've bought. Oh, I sped up too soon. Oh, that's okay. I will actually have to brake because it's downhill here, so it won't drift down. How many locomotives are there in TSW3? It's about 60. somewhere around 60 different locomotives. Well, locomotives and trains, as in electric multiple units and diesel multiple units and freight. In TSC, there's probably about 1,500. TSW also concentrates on UK, Germany, and America. There's a little bit of Swiss. There's one French route. That's about it at the moment. There are some more content providers coming. We're expecting Asian content within a year or so, because Union Workshops is on there. So we'll see some more. Break that much, game. It's hard to tell how much I'm braking because the brake gauge is broken. Caleb, a fairly old PC should run TSC quite happily. Not so, TSW not so much. TSW needs a relatively modern PC. Yeah, it depends on your setup. If you're getting a lot of frame drops and anti-aliasing issues, which is what kills frames a lot, try RW Enhanced 2. Don't try RW Enhanced Pro, I think that's crap. But RW Enhanced 2 is actually quite nice. It's much better shaders and much better anti-aliasing. We should do a quiz question, because it's been a little while, hasn't it? Does any freight operate on the Northeast Corridor? TSC has a lot more steam. TSC has an enormous amount of steam. I am really not liking what the brakes are doing in this train at the moment. And despite its age, have a look at what's called TS Pro content. If you like complex locomotives that are relatively realistic to drive. They're still not quite realistic because, you know, it's a game. But TS Pro stuff is really good. Oh, I forgot a country, Michael. I'm sorry. Canada. TSW has Canada. One route. And Ferramero answered the question. Well done. CSX is the answer. And SFS and Roblox said yes. And David Park said yes. So Ferramero was first. Coming into New York Penn now. Yes, Train Simulator does come with manuals. DTG stopped producing manuals for Train Sim World for some reason. The third parties like Rivet and Skyhook still make manuals. But for whatever reason, DTG decided to stop. I think their idea was to get people into the tutorials rather than having a manual. And that does suit people who like to learn by doing, but it doesn't suit people who like to learn by reading. This is very bright in New York Penn today. If you've ever been down here, you'd know how dark this really is. There are tons of video tutorials on TSC on YouTube, going right back to about, I don't know, 2012, 2013. Since then, they're all quite valid. Even the really old ones are quite valid. If you look up M Plays TV, which is Matt Peddleston, he's actually the exec producer of Train Sim World, but he did 20, 30, 40 tutorials of really complex things with TSC. And there are a lot. I do tutorials for all the new content that comes out. Well, I try to get them all anyway. Welcome to New York, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure that you have your belongings, pets, service animals, children, illegal narcotics and money laundering packages with you, because anything left behind will be confiscated and sold. Caleb says he can't figure out in Scenario Planner how to make a custom content. In TSW, you cannot. You can use the community editor to do that, but that's an unsupported way to do it. So if you want to stay supported, don't do it. Just saying, I don't stream them. Being an ambassador, I try and when I'm streaming, I try and stream the way the games should be, with the exception of RW Enhance, which I do run. It improves the graphics quite a bit in TSC, I think. Let's get our lights off so we stop blinding people. Should probably be running the bell. Alrighty, where did we get up to? What major auto manufacturer was involved in the Northeast Corridor? Major American auto manufacturer. Seems strange that they're involved in trains. Although a lot of auto manufacturers are involved in trains, but this one's not known for it. I was surprised when I discovered it. TSW does need a consist editor. It needs a lot of things in its scenario planner. Alright, we'll do a full equalizing application, get the bell off and open the doors. And that is it for this scenario. Oops, I just disappeared through the platform. Watch all the disappearing people. It wasn't General Motors, Michael. No. Was involved in the NEC itself, not trains. Oh, there are thousands of separate purchases for TSC, but they're all self-contained. So if you buy a route, it will come with some trains that will work. Scenario incomplete. Really? What did I get wrong? So where did I... speeding 12 times. Maybe that's why. Picked up passengers at 1 out of 4 platforms. So I stopped at them all, and I picked up passengers at them all. Anyway. That's okay. Let's go back to the main menu. And do my Acela search again. Actually, I want standard, I think. This next one might actually be... No, I think this next one's a career, actually. Do a search again. Express to Stamford. There it is. That's our next one. Seemed interesting. New Hawk to New Haven. I keep calling it New Hawk. Are there any specific ones I recommend? If you like Steam, look up the stuff by Mike Rennie. It's known as Smokebox. That's some of the most detailed Steam locomotives. If you like other countries in Steam, have a look up the Midland line in New Zealand with the JA. It's getting a new Steam loco next week, I think. Hello, engineer. Pick up passengers at New Haven and then proceed to Stamford. A regional train failed and causes delays. We'll continue its run soon, but expect some slowdowns. Excuse the coughing. Chrysler, well done, Brad. Well done, you. That was a bit hard to find, wasn't it? We are picking up our passengers. It's clearly a very windy day here at New Haven. Very noisy. We better set up our train, hadn't we? So let's put on some lights. Which lights did that get? We got the white ones, which is good. We don't need wipers. I need to turn on cruise control. It's got a handbrake with a switch. Isn't that cool? Brakes are still in handle off. We'll just leave them there for the moment. Need to go into forwards. That's the other thing between TSC and TSW is you'll find the setup of trains is, generally speaking, more realistic in your average releases in TSW. Only allowed to do 15, so away we go. Just a little bit of power because it looks snowy. Luca says, Acela, Acela. And Brad admits it was a guest. Well done. If you have a look at the Steam sale right now, there's a whole bunch of package deals on TSC that are actually really good, that give you a huge selection of routes for basically the cost of one. And some of them are like 10, 12 routes. So there's some really good deals on at the moment. So I would encourage you to have a look at Steam and have a think about what kinds of things you might like. I also like the narrow gauge stuff. So there's a bit of that that's quite good. There's a lot of Colorado narrow gauge. There we go. Still keeping the power a bit low. Now, interestingly, this Acela, even though is still showing that the traction motors are braking, but they're not. So even with a brand new start on the scenarios, maybe that's just a bug on the train. So anything you like, there's a lot of it. If you look on my channel, GMGUA, you'll in the Train Sim Classic playlist, you'll see a lot of the recent stuff and some of my favourite older stuff as well. The Sacramento Northern is a favourite of mine because I like transit stuff. Trams or trolleys, depending on where you come from in the world. Up to 50 now. The sale lasts until Monday afternoon UK time. So make sure you have a look in the next 24 hours or so, because the sale's going to go away and those deals will go away. Let's get back to our quiz. What did Chrysler do on the NEC? And I'll give you a hint, it wasn't trains. Yeah, we're back down to 45 again. The HUD doesn't know that though. The HUD thinks we should do 70. Naughty HUD. Just have a look. Let me see. I might just hope nothing bad happens there. If you're into vintage details GMG, I would suggest that TSC is probably better for you than TSW. In fact, if you jump on my Discord, because everybody else in this stream's probably already got TSC, but I don't want to put it in the chat, jump on my Discord and send me a DM, and I'll actually give you a key for Train Sim Classic, because I was just having a look and I've got one. I can't remember which edition it is, but I've got one that I can give you. $20.29 we've got today. I should be going a little bit faster. Let's pick up our pace just a little. Go just under the speed. Oh, actually I've got a signal speed at 15. What am I doing? Speeding up. What? I had better get some brakes on. Like a lot. The signal speed of 15, I'm in danger of running into the train in front of me in this block signaling system. There is not multiplayer for either Train Sim World or Train Sim Classic. Both very requested features in both games, but no, there isn't in either. There's 2 train simulation games that allow multiplayer. Yes, it is a free account. The link just turns up in my chat. It came in a couple of minutes ago. It doesn't cost anything to join Discord. Right, I can power on again now that we finished braking. Does everyone in this chat actually have Train Sim Classic already? I assume you've got a PC. GMGUA. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Well, actually, there's 3 games that have multiplayer. Michael Newbury, Trains, Simrail, and Run 8. Run 8 is incredibly complex. Very, very hard. GMGUA, you can't actually play TSC or TSW then. That's sad. Yes, unless you're running Windows on it. TSC would probably work in the emulator. TSW probably wouldn't. Yeah, the games are only available. PC, Train Simulator Classic's only on PC. Train Sim World is on PC, Xbox and PlayStation. And it's on old generation and next generation consoles. Or should I say current generation and previous generation these days. We are allowed up to 45. Whatever was in our way has gone. We go. And I'm amazed I'm not getting wheel slip in the snow with maximum power, but there you go. Probably shouldn't tempt fate that much. Yeah, with an Xbox you can play Train Sim World. Don't think I've got any... I don't have any Xbox keys for Train Sim World currently, sadly. Sadly? Sometimes I do get Xbox keys occasionally, but not often. TSC will run on less capable hardware than TSW. On Windows PC. Yeah, Run 8's probably too complex for someone unless they're actually involved in the industry, to be honest. It is so demanding and accurate that unless you actually know how to drive trains, you'll have a miserable time. HUD still thinks I'm allowed to do 70, but clearly I'm not. Let's do a quiz question. Oh, we haven't finished the Chrysler question. Did anybody figure out what they actually did? I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. What Chrysler actually did on the NEC was they were involved in building the signalling system of all things. That we're allowed up to 70 now. SFNS roadblocks, that's not happening. The main reason that's not happening is because I can't remember how to actually recover from an emergency stop in the Acela, and I don't want to muck around and waste people's time while they watch me flounder around trying to remember how to recover. So that won't be happening. So if I remembered how to do it, I'd quite happily demonstrate it, but I haven't tried in this one. What do we got coming over here on the New Haven? Bit of CSX freight. Quite a bit of CSX freight, in fact. It's a reasonably lengthy train. I don't know if you can turn up the heat in this thing. I can try. I can find the air conditioning. Where is the air conditioning? Is it up there? There we go. You can't actually do anything with it. It's not active in this game. It's active in the... I won't say anything else. I was never here. Okay. Next question. What 50s TV show iconic character was involved with the Acela? The 1X should be fine for Xbox, the TSW. Caleb asks, do I think any American Steam will come to Train Sim World? And David's answered it's not on the roadmap. I expect in time, yes. I don't know that DTG will be the ones to make it. I would expect one of the other third parties they've got on would probably be the ones to build it. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Cruising along through New Haven. David points out that the Xbox Series X and S benefits from additional layers. Yes, they would. But the One X should play it okay. It's just an older machine. And they have said that they're going to continue... Should slow down for this corner. They have said that they're going to continue supporting the last-gen consoles. Which shouldn't really be surprising to anybody because it's a large portion of their income. Yeah, Smokebox probably could collaborate with DTG. I have actually heard that Smokebox is not intending to make any more content, which is very sad, but he just doesn't make a living out of it, so I need to slow down because we've just got a signal indication of 30 mile an hour. Back up to 45 again. Bye, Luca. Sleep well, mate. Metro would, of course, like to see Metro. Caleb would like to see Machine Rail work with DTG. There is some vintage diesel content, David, if you like the UK. UK's got quite a lot of vintage diesel content. Not so much in America. Some. Caltrain is in Train Sim World, yes. It's the Caltrain from San Francisco to San Jose. They don't have the Gilroy bit. Signal speed of 0. That means I need to stop. So we shall. I'll get closer to these signals so I can see them when they change. It's interesting, the signal's not actually red, but I have a signal speed of 0. It's flashing green, which I think I remember is stop and go. Hello, Omar, who says, it's been a while since we heard about Just Train's involvement with TSW. I'd be surprised if it was that quick, Omar. If I remember rightly, this flashing green signal is a stop and then go, but you have to go slowly. So we shall do that. We shall stop. And we shall go. And I'm just going to turn off cruise for the moment while we're dealing with signals to things, and we'll do it manually. The TSW toolset is a significant learning curve. Well, we are allowed to do 60 now. Alright, we can go back on cruise control. Back up to 60. And give it some grunt. Alright, next question. Oh, we've still got one. No one's answered the question yet about which iconic 50s TV character is involved in Acela. If you need a clue, they were involved in launching it. Occurs to me, I don't think I've ever played this route in the snow before. It looks quite different. Quite a few different things all in the same place at the same time, and I wrecked it by getting into a road. I'm not joking, Ametra. I believe the issue is that he just doesn't make enough cash out of the game. I said snow, I think. But yes, there was a TV show. The actor was involved in the launch. Can anybody figure it out? Given that no one's found it yet, I think I'll give it some more points. The answer will be worth 50 points if you can find it. So the clues are, it's iconic, it's a 50s TV show, and involved in the launch. The actor was involved in the launch. See if you can figure it out from that. No, not Matt Brown. just had a signal indication for 30, so we'll slow down. Who's Extreme Trains, Metro? I don't even know who that is. We're talking about a TV show, Metro. So what is the name of the character that the actor played in the TV show from 1950? Or 1950s. It's set in the 1950s. That might be a better way to say it. No, not Alan Hale. I'll give you another clue, but I'm giving you this clue. I'm going to drop it from 50 to 30 points. Hey! Metro, you're getting a little bit irrelevant. We're allowed back up to 70. Yay! This doesn't beep. Should be getting lots of beeps to tell you that the your signal speeds have changed. There you go, Brad. That's 30 points for Brad. I didn't think it'd be that hard to find. Well, there you go. Alright, we can move on to our next question, because I do have rather a lot today. It's an unusual day. The first revenue service... Yes, the voice was a clue. The first revenue service Acela ran on December the 11th, 2000. But that was not the first full passenger trip on the NEC for the Acela. So other than the testing engineers, what day was the first passenger trip that ran the full length of the NEC? So I'll ask that again. I want the first passenger hauling trip that ran the full length of the NEC with an Acela. It was before the train was officially available in revenue service, so that was December 11th, 2000. And it wasn't a test trip. It was an actual trip with actual passengers before it went into service. Big freight yard here. Drivers slash engineers slash operators often honk at the guzzles. So we're going to bring our speed back down a little. We're going to be changing tracks very soon. I didn't want to do a bit of braking, I think. So I can see a 30 coming up as well. They're very weird brakes. November the 16th, Metro gets on the board. Well done. That was worth 20 points, Metro. Just crank the cruise control off again. Just do this manually. We're going to have speed up and down a bit. Yeah, December 11th was the revenue trip, first revenue trip. December 16th was a trip to show off the route and to show off the train itself and how fast they could go. And I believe the urban legend around it is they were cleared for 160 mile an hour running, but they never actually made it that far. Too far. Gratuitous bridge shot. Too like a bridge. Bridges with trains. Good thing we're not using that bridge over there, isn't it? It's got a bit missing. Isn't it funny? This is called Bridgeport. It's no wonder we have to go so slowly. Look at the curves we're going around. Tight. Alrighty, next question. Approximately how many trains operate on the Northeast Corridor every single weekday across the entire length of the thing with all operators? Thank you, David, for being the font of all knowledge. Train Simulator New York. Closed for him and her. Yes. Serious curve coming up here. A little bit of juice to get round a corner or we'll get stuck. Metro gets the number with 2,200. It's just 2,200 trains every day on the Northeast Corridor. Not that many ride the Acela every day, Metro. Nowhere near it. The current Acela only seats 200 people, and there's only 10 of them. Sorry, 20. There's 10 in service. There's another train in the distance here. Just jump back up the front, see what our signals say. Signals still say 30, so we'll behave ourselves and do 30 for now. Next question. What is the oldest infrastructure on the NEC? Dates back a very long time. And away we go. I think the Avelia will be good. All the Acela sets will get scrapped, Metro. They'll probably end up with one in a museum, I imagine. So what's the oldest infrastructure on the Northeast Corridor? Hello, Bill. Welcome. First comment. It's not a walking bridge. Something that trains go through. Go through gave it away, didn't it? There's not that many things they go through. Says he, forgetting he's not on cruise control and driving too fast. We'll get away with 72. Well, the Acela ran all the way through the pandemic, Metro. It never stopped. Baltimore and Potomac Tunnel, well done, Michael Newberry. And that was worth 30 points. Well done, you. So, what is the speed limit inside the Baltimore and Potomac tunnels, or the B&P tunnels? And you might think it's funny, this speed limit, when you think that the NEC is a high-speed line. Metro, the Avelia is made in America. It's made in New York State. It is based on a Alstom model, but it's not from Europe. But don't forget the United States doesn't actually have any train manufacturers anymore. There's Bombardier, which is Canadian-French. There's Alstom, which is French. There's Siemens, which is German. And that's all you've got, mate. EMD's not even owned by Americans anymore. It's not CSX changing the tunnels. No one's found the speed limit in the B&P tunnels yet. 18 miles to Stamford. Still only allowed to do 70 mile an hour. So much for high speed running. 30 miles an hour, Michael Newberry, well done. You are correct. When the Acela was first introduced, there was one feature it had that's totally unique to the Acela in the US. Other countries had this feature, but the Acela had it first. Nothing else in America since has had this feature. Hello, Rob Stewart. Welcome. You're driving the Acela, currently heading towards Stamford on the New Haven line, and asking lots of trivia questions about the Acela. The current question is, what feature on the Acela was new to the United States? And still no other train today's got it. No, there's no Wi-Fi on the Acela. That may surprise you given it's a business and first class train, but it actually doesn't have Wi-Fi. Bill Crusoe, well done. Tilt features. I hope I spelled your name correctly. Tilt features it is. The new Avelia has more extreme tilting, and it tilts both the locomotives and the cars. The Acela only tilts the cars. There is a thing on the Acela called the hatch. Where is it, and what's in it? Rob Stewart asked, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? African or European, Rob? Lots of trains have Wi-Fi, but the Acela doesn't. Cool. Good, Bill. David says there's signalling issues causing train blocks, but decent routes in the list. There's more fixes on the way for signalling issues. And strictly speaking, it's not really signalling issues that's actually causing the problem. It's the way some of the AIs are handling the signalling. AEM stuck outside its station there. Well done, GMGUA. You got one. First on the board. And it certainly is the front of the train and the couplers. There's also one at the back, but it's the front when it's going the other way. Another CSX. They don't have it here, but along some parts of the NEC, the overhead line equipment has these massively tall towers. What do the massively tall towers carry? It's like a bit of reflection. And I do like annoying people on Steam with my repeated screenshots. They'll survive. I run a leaderboard, GMGUA, and at the end of the year, there's a bragging rights thing, yes. DTG is beginning to get interested in my leaderboard, so no promises, but let's see what that means towards the end of the year. So I don't know if you know, but JD from DTG particularly enjoys a bit of a trivia quiz. Coming up on a 40 slowdown. This is some serious high-speed running here. What is my favourite American freight diesel? I would have to say it's probably two. I like the F7s quite a bit. And I like the SD40. And I think the reason I like the F7s and the SD40 is because they're a real operator's train. You actually need to know what you're doing to run them. Whereas the getting into the newer things like the SD60s and the SD70s, it's a little bit more about knowing how to run a computer than it is about running a train. I think I should go and get ready for a gratuitous water shot that will sneak in under this bridge for. That should be a pretty good angle. There we go. Towers, they do carry signalling actually, so I'll take that as an answer, but it's not the one I was looking for. But I will actually take that as an answer, because they do have some telephony on the towers. No one else going to have a go at the towers? It's high tension, high voltage power. Favourite Alco, now you're testing me. I'll go with one you've never heard of, Rod. The Victorian Railways X-Class. It's one of our local trains, but it's based on an Alco diesel. Let's get up to 70. I've taken over manual control. Hey look, my gauges work again. Go on to the next question. Oh, we've had that one. What are the two marketing words around the Acela? And they're going to continue using them with the Avelia, because the Avelia is actually the Acela Avelia. There's two marketing words around Acela. It's worth 20 points. The name of the new train, but what are the two marketing words around Acela? They actually come together to make up the word Acela. Yeah, David Park, you're not going to finish the Brighton main line in a hurry. Yeah, GMGA, you've got half of it. Acceleration is the first part of Acela. What's the second part of it? It's not luxury. And I'm missing a gratuitous bridge shot here. People who built this railway clearly were unable to get straight line property rights here. Lots of curves. Which in the early days of railways, no one really cared about curves because the trains only ran at about 25, 30 mile an hour. Does that actually hit that? Gee, that's close, isn't it? I reckon it's actually hitting that bridge. Is that a red signal? No, it's green. It's alright. It does start with an E. Acceleration and excellence. Well done, Michael Newbury. I will give GMMGUA 1 set of the points, and Michael, you get 20. And now for page 2. And I think Metra's already answered this. Actually, no, he hasn't answered this question. He's answered a different one. Oh, that's what we went over. Very cool. That was this bridge up here. Bridge. Very cool. Alright, first question from page 2. The maximum tested speed of the Acela is 165 miles an hour, which is a bit on the low end of the words high speed. But what is the average speed of the Acela over the NEC? So what is the average speed of the Acela over the entire NEC, Northeast Corridor? It's a little bit of a hard one. It might be a little bit hard to find. I'll put 20 points on it. Bit less than that. Bit less than 150, Michael and David. Quite a bit less than that. It's the average speed of the Acela. I think you're going to be quite horrified when you actually find out what it is. Speaking of speed. Rob says 40 to 70. I'll take Rob's answer if we don't get the exact answer. In fact, Rob, you get 10 points just for that answer, but let's see if we can get the exact answer. Welcome to the board. It's not quite as low as 45. It's a little bit higher than 60. Less than 85. Higher than 30. I know it seems like a long time before I respond to your comments, by the way, but you're actually seeing this 22 seconds behind me saying it. But I see your chat comments straight away. 68 GMGA, well done. 20 for you. Now, before they built the Acela units, sometime before they built them, they tested 2 other high-speed trains before deciding to develop the Acela. So 2 other trains ran on the NEC with Amtrak branding as Amtrak services in revenue service. What were they? It does get competitive sometimes, GMGUA, yes. He is doing quite well, David Park. GMGUA is climbing quite quickly. No, there were 2 high-speed trains. The HHP8 and the AEM7 don't really count. Ooh, Rob Stewart's close. He's got one of them right. The Deutsche Bahn Ice, yes. It wasn't the TGV, David Park. And you're right about it being Swedish, but it's not the X9000. So Rob get 10 points for a start. So Rob's got 10 points for the Deutsche Bahn Ice. It was the Ice 1. That's correct. See if you can figure out which Swedish train it was. It wasn't the X9000. I actually know someone who rode both of them. She used to commute every day from Philadelphia to New York, and she ended up riding both. The X2000, David Park gets those 10. So Rob got the first 10, and David gets the second 10. Well done to both of you. So for each of those trains, what were the highest speeds that they respectively reached? So the highest speed for the X2000 and the highest speed for the ICE. We cruise through the backwoods, approaching Stamford. Yep, I do believe she used to get up at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and she'd get home at about 9 o'clock at night, and then go to sleep so she could get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, she probably slept on the train both ways too, it wouldn't surprise me. X2000, we've got an answer of 131. It's a little faster than that. Rob Stewart's gone for 1,000,000 miles an hour. Not quite. It's a little high. Michael thinks the X2000 was 130, a little higher. It did run at 130 in revenue service. What was its highest test speed? Is what I'm going for. We are now approaching Stamford Station, ladies and gentlemen. Please get your belongings, children, pets, service animals, and the occasional monkey together so that we can get them off the train. EMGA, yes, you got it. 155 for the X2000. What about the ICE? What did that get to? A little lower than 171, David. Michael Newberry. Man working on a billboard. Don't we all have to know what it says? And the frame rate's terrible here. Drink the Big Apple. Very good. Frame rate is atrocious here. 40. Felt lower than that. $124, a bit higher. was its test speed. And there's an irony to these speeds, by the way. Lower than 171, yes. It's close to it, though. I forgot the bell again. I'm a naughty engineer. Is this going to stop before it blasts through the red signal? I think I might give it a little bit more brakes, personally. We do have an answer for Metra has 165. So 165 for the ICE in its testing. Now there's a little irony there in that Amtrak chose to build its own train rather than taking either the ICE or the X2000 because they were too slow. But the top speed of the Acela is slower than both of them. Uh-oh. That's okay. So, when Amtrak were playing around with the ICE and the X2000, they lined them up for a photo shoot. Great job, we managed to minimise the delay. Time for a deserved break. So that is the end of this scenario. And well done, completed it successfully. Yay! Which will take us to our third one now. Alright, and our third one will be a standard because it's another one that I had to make a copy of and change the time. So we'll be going for Daytime Supercell, which is normally a night run. I try not to stream night runs because you can't see much, and that kind of sucks for viewers. Kind of sucks for me too, but you know. So when they were trying to emphasise how modern the ICE and the X2000 were, they lined them up next to something else. Was the something else? Getting everything turned on, ready to go. We're heading for Baltimore. We're actually at Baltimore, Penn Track 7. A little older than an E60, a little older than an AM7. It's a fairly unique photo with an ICE and the X2000 lined up next to another engine. 2171, ready to depart Baltimore. Proceed on signal indication. Well, there is no signal, so we'll just go, shall we? I don't think there's a little dwarf or anything here. Oh no, it's one up there. And it's green. Vertical lines, all good. Let's go. Brakes off. Power on. Wasn't a GG1. Older than that. Actually, about the same age as a GG1 from when it was built. It was built in 1924, the thing they lined it up against, but they were trying to make it seem older than that. And it exists today. It still operates today. It operates on a very short part of the NEC. As we travel towards West Baltimore, having just left Baltimore. We're now on the Washington-Baltimore route, if you're wondering. So this is the third route we've looked at today. Bit older than the GG1. I'll give you a clue. And I'll reduce the number of points. Oops, I'm going a bit quick. That signal is green overhead there, which is fine. Tunnel coming up. You're still thinking too new. It's built in 1924, this particular unit. The first F7s were in the 1940s, Metro. The very first ones. The long Baltimore tunnel, starting to climb uphill. It runs today on the Strasbourg Railroad. So I've now reduced the points from 30 to 20 because I've given you that clue. Just be aware, GMGUA, if you sign up for Discord and tell Metro about it, you will get many messages. Many, many messages. I think I might have to give you the answer. It's engine number 90 on the Strasbourg Railroad. It was lined up. It was a steam engine. There's a lot of photos of Strasbourg 90 next to the X2000, but there's one particular photo where number 90 is actually in between the ICE and the X2000 on 3 tracks. And it was one of the few times that the Strasbourg Rail has escaped from the Strasbourg Rail to run on the NEC proper. Now, there's something special about the Strasbourg Railroad. This is another question. This is a relatively hard one, so I'll make it 50 points. What is special about the Strasbourg Railroad? We are going through the B&P tunnels right now, by the way. These tunnels are about to be rebuilt, I believe. Or duplicated, one or the other. But anyway, they're not going to be using the old tunnels anymore. They're going to have new ones. Something that's federally funded. It is is it a tourist railroad? That's part of it. So it does carry tourists. But yes, it's been in service since 1832. They operate with steam. They operate all their trains with steam, but they run revenue trains. The Strasbourg Railroad has been a continuously operating freight railroad since 1832. It's the oldest continuously operating railroad in America. Hello, Haxorus. Welcomed. It does run steam-hauled freight, you're right. You're a bit late then, but given you wouldn't have heard that I gave you the answer, I will actually give you the points. Because you wouldn't have heard me call out the answer before you typed that. Yeah, it's a steam-hauled revenue freight. They run a short line service. To get a bit of speed up to 55 now. The next question, just while I'm speeding up before I run over said speed limit, is where was the Acela first tested? State, and if you know it, the town. CETC 1 dispatcher, CETC 1 train dispatcher to Acela Express 2171. This is 2171. Go ahead, dispatcher. We have a report of a downed tree at Seabrook, which may be stuck in the catenary or overhead line equipment of number 3 track. We'll contact you again shortly with additional details and guidance. Roger, CECT1, over and out. Yeah, they do have a couple of diesels, I think. Colorado is the correct state. What about the town? What town were they tested in? And that's GMGUA. So you get half the points for that so far. Another 10 points if you can give me the town they were tested in. Pueblo. Good one, Rob. Well done. Another 10 for you. Pick some speed up. Well done for all the guesses there. So, in what way were the first 4 car sets to reach the NEC unusual compared to the others? I take it in the order of the chat that they come to me, Metra. But I can only base it on what I see. But I'll be nice to you, I'll give you some points. Because I'm nice. And you'll whinge at me for days if I don't. So the first 4 units were unusual. All trains are tested before they're delivered, Metro, so that's not unusual. Doing nothing productive is a good thing to do. Train dispatch at Acela Express, blah 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 blah. Sustained winds of exceed 50 mile an hour pressure. Proceed not exceeding 60 miles an hour until instructed otherwise. Driver goes, God damn it. You have to go slowly now. Bring it down to 60. There was something special about the first 4 car sets that were delivered onto the NEC for the localised acceptance testing. Well, it would have been a gratuitous water shot, but I missed it. Oh well. We have some gratuitous rain instead. Now that we have to run at 60 mile an hour until we're told otherwise. And that's 16 Fahrenheit for you too, isn't it, Bill? It's not very high. It was the first 4 sets to be on the NEC. What was different about them? By the time they got into revenue service, they were the same as the others. No passenger interiors is in fact correct, Hexerus. Well done. And that was worth 20, so 20 points to you. What was even more special about car set 2 that let it reach 165 mile an hour in its test? Hornby aren't well known for their level of detail, the MGUA, compared to some manufacturers. Still have to stay under 60. Yep, so what was extra special about car set 2 that let it reach 165 miles an hour? It wasn't no brakes, no. Was I supposed to stop there? Bugger. Damn it. Was I really supposed to stop there? I didn't think so. Oh yeah, pick up passengers from BWI Airport. Uh-oh. I'm clearly naughty. I believe it had windows. There's an unbranded train set running past there that be a local one. The answer was it was completely stripped out. It had nothing at all inside it, so that it could be lighter, so it would make the speed test. So I don't know if you're aware, but if you want to run at a certain speed, nearly all railways around the world, the regulatory authority will require you to test it at least 20% over that speed. Thanks, David. Made it faster because it was lighter. Alrighty. Next question then, since I just missed a stop. Car set 18 was involved in an incident. And in that incident, its cafe car was badly damaged and was removed from service for repairs. Until it got... Sorry, no, it wasn't its cafe car, it was its first class car was removed for repairs. Until it got its first class car back, what was it demoted to? It was not considered an Acela by the railway, it was demoted. What was it demoted to? Yeah, that's one difference between Train Simulator and Train Sim World, actually. If you go past a station in Train Simulator Classic, it just skips it and goes, oh well. Train Sim World, you can't finish the game. You're stuck. There was a train set separation and some of them came apart, yes. But what was the train demoted to while its first class car was away being repaired? Looking at the photos, I'm actually surprised they did repair it. I would suggest it was mostly a new car. It was in the Northeast Regional Service, yes. But what was it called while it was in the Northeast Regional? It wasn't called an Acela, it was called something else. Wasn't allowed to run Acela timetables, and it wasn't booked as an Acela service. It actually hit a bridge, Metro. Came off the tracks and hit a bridge. Sounds like no one's going to guess that one. Its tickets were sold as a Metroliner. Now, I've already given you the answer to the next question a little earlier. How many Acela car sets are there in total? I've given you half the points for that one, Axrus. 20 car sets in total. GMGUA was the first to say it. Well done. Here's a trick question for you. What is the next generation of Acela called? That would be cheating, Metra. Are you suggesting I should cheat and help you win? Besides, then I'd have to type, and I'd do a bad enough job driving the train while I'm checking the chat and talking to people, without trying to type as well. Acela, yes. Train dispatcher to Acela Express. Any news in that tree? Over. We can confirm the tree is in the catenary track 3 only. The cruise says that travel through the area on 1 will be safe and to route you at track 1 at Bowie. Proceed at restricted speed, not exceeding 10 mile an hour between milepost 124 and 125. Sound horn for work crew as necessary. No idea what milepost we're at. It's 11 miles away, so we can keep going at 60 mile an hour for the moment. I think Hexarus was the first one to get it right, but I'll give Metro points as well because he said Acela 2, which is pretty close. But well done to both of you. I'm restricted to 60, Metra. All those people need to walk behind the yellow line. Are you in first place? I doubt it. No? Brad's in front of you today. You've still got a long way to go to catch up with the other people on the leaderboard. So, what is the branding of the next generation? I.e., what does it say on the side? So, where this one says Acela, what does the new one say? It's worth staying behind the yellow line because it's a good way to get smacked in the head with a mirror if you don't. If you're not at the bottom of GMGUA, there's people with only 10 points on the leaderboard. And Michael for the win. Well done, Michael Newberry. And who's making them? What company? The sets that are out and about Hexarus actually have Avelia on the side. The ones I've seen in videos. I'm only meant to be doing 60. Being naughty again. It's because I'm going downhill. Alstom is correct. Alrighty. Where are they being built? Yeah, the new sets that they're testing at the moment do say Avelia. When they go into service, they are going to say Acela, I believe. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Bill Crusoe. So where are the new sets being built? They're being assembled in New York. Yes, Metro, I'll give you some of the points for that. What if I changed it and said what percentage of the content is being built in America? Michael's got Hornell, New York. Yes. Give you a point there. What percentage of them is being built in America? Yeah, they've done quite a lot of testing in Philly and over in Connecticut as well. So 85% of them are being built in America, and it is Alstrom's factory, yes. The 15% that's not built in America is the computer systems, the displays, and the traction motors, i.e. all the important bits. The trains themselves are being built in America. So the Avelia Liberty is already in a train simulator. Which one? Well, this one's actually a little bit hard. So I've got 50 points on it. Yeah, we've been restricted to 55 now. 45, sorry. Let's bring the speed down. The Avelia is definitely in a train simulator. It's a mainstream piece of software. Which one? It's not Train Sim, it's not Run 8. It's a mainstream piece of software, a lot of people use it. There's a couple of people in this stream who I would really expect to get this answer, and I'm kind of surprised they haven't. It's not MSTS. It's current software. Ah, Haxorus, well done. Roblox it is. 50 points in that one. That actually puts you into the lead today. Not over the overall leaderboard, but in today's answers it is. Well done. It does have a long flat nose. It's got a crash protection system inside it designed to protect the operator. We're supposed to run at 10 miles an hour now, but I won't do that because that'd be a little bit boring. Bring it down to about 25. We'll run at 25. All right then. The Acela is starting to show its age. Recently, an Acela set failed in Queens, New York. How long were the passengers stuck on it before it got moved? Actually, Roblox is becoming quite well known as a train simulator, to be honest. There's some quite serious people playing it. I can't quite bring myself to do it because I can't stand the graphics. But, no, there's this... Dead Rails 1 is an example who plays the SCR Roblox. No, it wasn't quite that long, Metra. "7 hours. Well done, Hexarus. Cementing your lead. Well done. Now, at the same time the Avelia Liberty is being built, there's a competing high-speed project for the Northeast Corridor that's trying to get off the ground. And they've been trying to get off the ground since about 2005 or so. What is it that they're trying to build? They basically want to rip up the Northeast Corridor and build something. What is it they want to build? Toxic Dark says Mind Test has a mod for trains and a PZB-like implementation. I'm not that surprised. Well, why not? If you want to sell a lot of product, you get into the game that a lot of people are playing. And if you want to sell a lot of product for a long time, you get into the game that a lot of young people are playing. No, they want to replace the entire Northeast Corridor with something. Metro? I think they're actually planning on building alongside it, but not on top of it. Well, maybe it is on top of it. It's not a Hyperloop. Although, given a chance, I'm sure Mr. Crazy would inject Mr. Crazy's crazy ideas. That went down the wrong way. It's not a Hyperloop. What is it they want to build? No, not a linear city. Although that wouldn't be a bad idea. Not a BRT. It's still kind of a train. They probably got a little bit more attention because China's built a couple of them now. Although I believe out of the two that China built, only one of them is still running. Well done, GMGUA. They are trying to build an SC maglev called the Northeast Maglev. That one was a little bit hard, so it's 20 points. How long are they saying that it will take to get from Washington to New York City on the maglev? Aviator the Wolf, welcome. Can't wait till the Train Sim World 3 gets to Acela. It'll be soon. Very soon. Maglev isn't a monorail, but it sort of is, sort of isn't. They don't actually have any rails at all. 1 hour. Well done, Metra. Metra's trying to catch up. Can he do it? How fast are they intending to operate it? And I'm waiting to see our work crew. I haven't spotted them yet. Because we have to cruise ridiculously slowly. And how fast do they say that the maglev train will be operated? "311, says Haxarus. That is correct. Absolutely cementing his lead over Metra, because there's not that many questions to go. Aviator the Wolf asks, will there be any new routes with the Acela expansion to Boston Sprinter, or is it just another layer for Boston Sprinter? Wait till tomorrow at the evening in Universal Time, whatever that is for you, because on the Train Sim World YouTube channel they will reveal all tomorrow. And yes, if you try hard enough you could probably Google and find the leak, but I would wait till tomorrow so you don't spoil the fun. So on the Train Sim World channel. Should see our crew of workers soon. We're pretty close to the go via point. It'd be interesting to see a maglev. I would think they probably need a power source for it because they're a bit hungry. GMGUA has to go. Alright, see you later, mate. Thank you for joining in. You've done pretty well in the quiz. So, last two questions. Why is the quietness of Acela a problem, and why will it become worse with the Avelia Liberty? So it's in the passenger space, it's really, really quiet. And why is that a problem? It's caught a few people out over the years. Most recently it caught out a Pentagon person. Yes, the Avelia is quieter than the Acela, but why is that a problem? It's caught out judges, it's caught out politicians, it's caught out defence people. Thank you for subscribing, Aviator the Wolf. I think this is our tree coming up. We should honk at them a lot. And I'm only supposed to do 10 miles an hour when I go past them as well. Bill Cruiser is going to get going before he ends up in the Chateau a la Bow Wow, i.e. the doghouse. Night, mate. It shouldn't be because of the AC and DC power in the NS. Could you imagine trying to rip a tree out of live quaternary with an excavator? Do you like the way he just shrugs at you? It's like, yeah, whatever, mate. Very good, Lexic Dark. Hello, Neil TB8. I'm joining in just in time that we've not far off being done. Lexic Dark gets on the board today. That's your first one. And that was worth, I hate to tell you this, 50. So you've done quite well. Lexic Stark's answer was a little cryptic, so it's a good opportunity to learn things that you shouldn't learn. Hello, Neil. How are you today? I hope you're well. I am okay. Paracetamol made my headache go away, which is all good. Now, those of you who watched my stream last week will know the answer to the final question. What happened to me when I was booked on an Acela to ride from Philly to New York in the year 2000? Bit of tooth pain, that's no good. Alright then, back to 45. Now that we're past the workers. Basically, Haxarus is that people aren't particularly mindful that the carriages are really quiet and that in each section there's about 100 people around you. And they talk about things that they shouldn't be talking about. So they get in trouble. That is correct, Haxarus. My Acela broke down and I ended up on a metro liner. And I have to say, it actually kept to the timetable. We got there at the same time we were supposed to get there. There you go. And that brings us to the end of the quiz for today. Hello, Ferramero. So we've run out of quiz questions, and I have to say today's individual winner would be Haxarus. So well done to you, Haxarus. It's quite a good effort. Looks like coming second would have been Metra. Tied for third were Brad and Michael. And we'll see what that means for the main leaderboard when I add it up later today. I will be publishing that straight after the stream so that I don't forget. Yeah, Acela rarely gets to its top speed. This is very true. Are you looking forward to the Acela in TSW, Neil? We're still restricted to 45 despite what the HUD says until we change tracks. You did get some points, Ferramero. I think you ended up with 40. So you did alright there. Michael in the top 3, indeed. Well done. So I had a lot of questions today deliberately because I was running 3 services that were kind of long. I think this is where we're switching here. So I'll be able to go back up to full howl shortly. There it goes. Yeah, I think it'll be good too. Going back onto the fast track now. Haxaroo says it's his first time in one of these quiz sections. He's quite pleased he managed to get to win by pure nerdiness. So that's what it's all about. That is exactly what trivia is about. Nerdiness and general knowledge. We're not supposed to stop here, so it's all good. Always texting, that one. Oops. Actually, we are still limited to 45. And here's me, rocketing along, thinking I can go back up to 100 and something now, but no, I can't. I have to run at 45. Yeah, I introduced the quizzes. I started off with a picture quiz, which went down okay, but it was usually over quite quickly, and it wasn't getting people all that involved. Whereas this quiz gives everybody in the chat a good chance to be involved. Next week's stream, assuming nothing in TSW actually launches during the week, will be a Steam-based Steam in Train Sim Classic. I'm still working through exactly what I'm going to do, but I'll schedule it today. I think there might be some Maerdy, and I think there might be some Riviera in the 50s. I think those two. Or, if I give up and actually shell out the $60 odd, it'll be the Smokebox Utah route, which looks really good, and the whole lot of it's on special, but it's still really expensive. Haxaroo says he doesn't think the Acela stops again after BWI until Union Station. And very few stops, including New Carrollton and Terminus for the Purple Line light rail. Yeah, we can see where we're stopping next. Union Station, in fact. And we're due there at 15:15. And at the moment we're going to get there early. Better hope we're changing track, so this is going to go bang. There we go. There's a good screenshot. Why not? That guy's probably sitting there going, I hope that's changing tracks. That'll be fun. Alright, now we can go back to Full Fang. It's a good route for Amera. It's quite an old one, but it's one of those ones that it's like the not Washington, the Philadelphia, New York. It's an old route, but it's one of the ones that's held its ability to entertain. It's always good to have a collection of good routes that you can come back to. I think it was actually one of the first ones I bought for Train Sim Classic, when it was still called Railworks. Full power. We have unleashed all of the terrifying kittens that hide in the back of this thing. Oh, actually, there'll also be a stream on Friday night, my time. I think it's Friday night. Because the new train for the Midland Line is going to release. The KB. I don't think Dovetail have actually announced it yet, but they'll announce it during the week. It's safe for me to announce it because I ambassador for the people that make it. So I'm not doing anything naughty. Now we've got a 95 coming up. Slowing down for that now. Axarus likes the idea that the Acela is powered by a legion of Chessie the railway kittens. Time to start slowing down for our arrival. On our way into Washington Union Station. Passengers, please get your things, children, bits and pieces, service animals, and your hedgehog. And prepare to get off my train. Because I know it's not a good thing for customer service, but I don't actually like you. I just drive. Brakes are so weird on this. Fine, have it your way. Brake impossibly. It's all good. Welcome to Washington, folks. The murder capital of the United States of America. I always kind of thought the murder capital would be Los Angeles, but it's not. It is actually Washington. Which track are we going to come in on, do you reckon? Why am I getting faster? Ah, it's not even this one. It's over here. Where is the end of this platform? Probably about there, I guess. Yellow line terrorists. Get out of the way. Mr. Coaster Coaster, welcome. New Orleans, not only being killed by water, being killed by people. Well, you don't get murdered by water. You still die, but you don't get murdered. And Hexaroo says the UMB campus alerts off-campus armed robbery like bi-weekly. Yeah, a friend of mine uses the Citizen app in New York, and she gets an alert about every 20 minutes about someone being beaten or killed. And there we have it. The Acela. That's going to take a long time. Why don't we have a look around Washington while we're here? It's a bit empty. Where are the rest of the trains? Oh, they were all out there, that's why. They're stuck behind trees. We have an ACS 64, which we do have in Terrain Sim World. Might have a cab car on the back, maybe? Let's have a look. Nope. so that'll have to get pulled off there. And we've got our Acela. And that's about all there is here at the moment. This is the commuter area. No one home today though. Lots of people, no trains. You failed to complete some assigned tasks. Oh, that's right, we didn't stop somewhere, didn't we? What else did I fail at? Picking up passengers from BWI. That was all. That's life. Oh well. All good. Well, it's been a lot of fun. You hear gunfights, Mr. Coaster Coaster. That's not cool. We don't generally hear that much in Australia. Occasionally, but not often. Haxaroo says do the GG1. I've done that one before. Yes. Recently, actually. In fact, it ran this morning on Train Sim Classics channel. And it's on mine now. TSW could do with more variety in Amtrak stock. Watch tomorrow, see what happens. David Park says I get to ride on the Northeast Corridor later this year, going between Baltimore, Penn to Union Station. Don't die, mate. Hopefully you'll be all good. And Ferramaro says, whatever happened to the Amfleet cab car in TSW? What Ferramaro is asking about was the cab car that was in Northeast Corridor in the original Train Sim world. And yes, it did not come over because it had to be remodeled. Oh well, that'll be it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I will get the leaderboard out shortly. So have fun, folks. Whatever's left of your weekend, enjoy it. I will have some stuff to do outside. Looks like the rain stops. I'll probably go mow the grass because, you know, it's exciting. And enjoy yourselves. See you later. Bye now. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I always like to get your feedback in the form of likes and comments because they help me understand what you want. Give the channel a subscribe and click on the tinkly things so you don't miss out on any new stuff. And thanks for your ongoing support. And please, be safe out there.